New Montale perfume, Be My Plum. The name sounds delicious. It smells nothing like that at all. And at first I thought it was pretty but rather basic. But with time, I've discovered it has a dirty, sexy secret. I'll tell you what it smells like, I'll give you my rating, we'll discuss who it is made for, and I will also reveal why I think that is actually a pretty dirty perfume. First things first, Be My Plum, the name sounds absolutely delightful. I was thinking about plum and I love plum note in perfumery. It is fruity, it is leathery, it is tart, it is very smart. For me, it represents the transition from summer into fall. So plum is one of my absolute favorite fruity notes in perfumery, but none of that is in here. Instead, Be My Plum, surprisingly for me, is actually a floral perfume with just a tiny touch of gourmand vibes and a surprising oudi base. From the very first seconds I get delicate, gentle petals of violets spread out on a bed of white florals. A little bit of tuberose, not too much, some ylang-ylang for warmth, some jasmine for clarity, also powdery notes, orris or some synthetic substitute, so it gives off this very girly, gentle, powdery, floral vibe, fit for a princess. The official Montale description speaks of lilacs as an opening note. However, regardless of how much I tried and imagined, I don't smell lilacs here. What I get are only violets and irises, so maybe I've just forgotten what lilacs smell like. Another thing that is missing for me in the opening that is prominently mentioned by Montale is the accord of green plum. Now, green plum is a delicate thing and I think it's a fantasy accord, but I don't get it here at all. I don't feel any fruitiness, nothing green, nothing tart, nothing that would remind me of plum in any shape or form in the opening. I can sense a little bit of plum as the perfume develops. So after 5-10 minutes, when the floral accord, the opening accord starts to bloom and there's sometimes more tuberose, then the jasmine comes through a little bit more, the violets become sweeter. That is the point where I can imagine that I sense some plum, but not the actual fruit, neither green nor ripe. What I smell is a kind of plum pudding, or maybe a tart or a pie with plum jelly frosting. Definitely not a whole fruit, but a plum that has already been processed in a patisserie. And up until this moment, the perfume smells very pretty. It smells very girly. It smells like a fairy tale princess wearing a pastel-colored ball gown with a lot of sparkles on it. I can totally imagine a scene where this imaginary princess is getting ready for tea in her castle, maybe a tea with her mom or her favorite auntie, or maybe her fairy godmother. The smell of jasmine tea, coconut cupcakes, candied violet leaves already lingers in the air of her room. She's ready to go, and then she realizes she has a big problem. You see, our princess didn't actually sleep at home last night. Instead, she snuck out to party, spent the night dancing and making out with a handsome fella who might or might not turn out to be an actual prince as the story progresses. And although she managed to get back on time unnoticed, she did not have time to take a shower before getting ready. And now the scent of the nightly adventure and of that handsome fella is kind of lingering on her skin and on her hair. And it makes our princess wonder whether the lingering scent of exotic spices, something woody, something leathery, and frankly also something sweaty and animalic, since they were actually heavily making out last night, whether that lingering scent is enough for her mother to tell. And that's where the story ends. We are not going to find out what happened to the princess for sure, but I suspect that her mother will not be able to tell because this perfume does not project a lot. It stays rather close to skin, although for a long time, and this animalic part gets softer with time. The animalic part comes from the oud accord, which you will recognize if you like Montale perfumes, because that is Montale's signature oud accord that is used in many, if not all, of his fragrances. Here, the oud accord is used very sparingly in order to allow the fragrance to remain a floral with a light gourmand touch, so it's not in the foreground, but it's there nevertheless. You start to smell it after maybe 10-15 minutes, and the moment I smelled it at first, I was very surprised because it's a very high contrast to the delicate, gentle, princessy nature of the floral and gourmand part of the composition. Be My Plum is built on the contrast between the delicate, gentle nature of the floral and gourmand part and the animalic, sweaty sexiness of the spicy oud accord. That's why I call it a princess perfume that is hiding a dirty little secret. However, if the word oud scares you, don't be afraid. It is not an oud perfume, it is a floral perfume. And oud is used like a kind of fairy dust sprinkle in the middle of the composition. It's not in the limelight, it is used just to add a touch of contrast. To sum up, Be My Plum smells like a cocktail of violet leaves on a bed of white flowers with a light touch of coconut cupcakes with plum jelly frosting and a contrasting note of spicy, slightly animalic oud. Be My Plum is very pretty. Traditionally speaking, it's very girly with a powdery touch. The oud contrast does not sway the composition in any masculine or woody direction at all. And it is a fragrance that feels very young and unencumbered by the complexities of real life. I bought this little 50 ml perfume in the Montale boutique in Cannes because I was very curious. However, I did not have time to actually try the perfume before buying. I just blind bought it in order to make a review and to satisfy my curiosity. And the question is, would I have bought it if I had smelled it before? And before I give you my personal opinion and ranking, if you like the way I talk about fragrances, if you enjoy my reviews, please give this video a like, leave a comment because I'm always happy to hear from you, and subscribe to my channel. I'd be extremely delighted if you did that. So what do I think about Be My Plum? To be honest, while this is an undeniably very pretty perfume, it is kind of unremarkable. I am not sure I will remember this scent for a long time. I am pretty sure I will not be able to recognize it in a scent trail after somebody wearing it passes me by. And I think the scent is kind of basic. I don't want to be mean because the world needs simple, happy, easy to wear scents that just make you feel pretty. But for me, it is just not special enough. I miss something that would excite me in the composition. Plus, I'm kind of disappointed because Montale named this perfume Be My Plum, and I am not getting enough plum out of it. To be blunt, while I will not be returning the bottle, I like it well enough and I will find somebody who will be very happy about wearing it so I can gift it, but I would not be buying this perfume if it was not for this review. Be My Plum, while not super original or exciting, is a gorgeous perfume. It is easy to wear, it makes you happy, it makes you smell good without offending anybody or assuming anything. So it's a kind of a light-hearted, feminine fragrance. And it is a gorgeous gift for the special ladies, girls, and princesses in your life, especially the 100 ml bottle that has this beautiful matte lilac finish. The 50 ml is kind of cute, but it has the standard gold color with just a lilac label. 100 ml actually looks much better, so I would recommend 100 ml for gifting. And it is a nice addition to Montale lineup. However, it is not the most memorable Montale perfume for me. What do you think? Have you tried it? Are you interested in getting a bottle? Please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.